MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 121, Ryan Jensen versus Courtney McGee. Guys, let's talk about this fight. Very first round, you basically see the experience factor really taking hold of Ryan Jensen. He was really outclassing McGee, he was stuffing his takedowns, and also a big Ryan Jensen. I mean, he must have came in more than 185 in this fight. He just looked bigger than Courtney McGee, and it was that size factor as well, which helped him stuff those takedowns. He was outclassing him in the stand-up. It seemed like he was beating him to the punch. And like I said, the experience factor just seemed to take hold. You have McGee, the Ultimate Fighter winner, and, just coming out, and of course, a lot less experience than Jensen, who was, already in his early 30s, has fought a lot of fights, facing top-level competition of the likes of Damian Maia. So that first round basically went to Jensen. You look at the second round, it was kind of a different story. Towards the middle of the round, you basically saw McGee pushing the pace, and he was being more aggressive, and it just seemed that Jensen started to get tired because he was expending a lot of energy, stuffing those takedowns. McGee's a good wrestler, and then at the same time, he's trying to strike with him. And the really interesting thing was, towards the end of the second round, you saw McGee getting this takedown like right at the buzzer. And I was saying, something, this guy is a smart fighter. I mean, he's not just learning very quickly, he's also very smart, because he knew that second round was really close. And the first round he knew went to Jensen. He said, look, something, this is a close fight, and that's basically going to sway the judges as far as this round. I get this takedown, that's really going to look good in the judge's eye, and that might seal that second round. Then moving on to the third round, you just continue to see McGee constantly pushing the pace. He was really landing some shots, and you saw Jensen kind of backpedaling. He was really aggressive, McGee, and also, really talented. It just looked like he was really mixing it up well. He was throwing some good leg kicks, some good punches. And then you saw McGee getting a takedown later on in the third round, and it was a decisive takedown. And of course, this is a result of him being the fresher fighter with the better cardio in that third round. And then Jensen, of course, couldn't do anything to stop it. And then you see what a tough, also strong guy McGee is. When he had him down, he was able to posture him up against the cage. This is a guy with really good wrestling, for a guy especially just came out of the Ultimate Fighter. And then, he starts doing some good ground and pound. This guy is not a lay and pray type of wrestler. He goes down on the guy, and he basically is really active with his hands. Really good ground and pound, elbows, mixing it up really well. And then he softened him up for what came next, which was an arm triangle, and got the submission. Let me tell you something, guys. I was really impressed with Courtney McGee. I watched this guy in the last season of The Ultimate Fighter, and, a lot of people weren't paying attention to him. They were paying more attention to, I remember this guy, Nick Ring, who was also a good fighter, but he got injured later on. And this was the guy that really improved more than any guy that I've seen coming out of The Ultimate Fighter, as far as in a short period of time. Every fight, he just exponentially improved. It just seemed that his striking and his wrestling were getting better. Now, let me tell you something, guys. At 25 years old, here's a point I want to make. He just might be the future of this middleweight division. The middleweight division, comparable to all the other divisions, is really up in the air right now. You have Anderson Silva in the twilight of his career. You have Vitor Belfort, of course. He's going from division to division. He's been plagued with injuries. So we don't know the future of these two guys as far as in the distance. And the other point I want to make is, with Chael Sonnen out, and no one really knows what the situation is with him, when he's going to come back, this division really lacks wrestlers comparable to the other divisions. There really aren't any big-time wrestlers. So if you think about it, this guy's wrestling is really good, and I think he could be a real threat. Of course, he's got a way to go. He's got to get more experience. You could see it in that first round. He's got to continue to improve his striking. I think his wrestling is really good. And, he just may be a really big threat in this middleweight division. At 25 years old, he just might be the future of this division. So, it was really a good fight, and something else that was really interesting, because in the middle of the second round, you heard this huge chorus of boos, and I'm like, okay, what could these guys be booing about this time? This is a really exciting fight. What are they booing about? So then the announcer said, well, Koscheck just came into the building. So that was kind of, at least they had a real reason to boo this time. Sometimes the booing can kind of get annoying, but these guys are fans, they're paying to get in, so they have a right to do that. It's all good, but it was kind of funny, and then you hear the GSP chants. I mean, it's interesting, if the announcers didn't mention it, you would actually think they're booing this fight and chanting GSP. Like, why, So it was kind of funny, interesting, and a really entertaining fight. So I'd like to know what you thought about the fight and the UFC 121 card. Please leave your comments below the video, rate this video, and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.